What do you mean my account's overdrawn? I gasped, clutching my phone with exaggerated shock as Tyler's sister unleashed a tirade about the rent money he'd sworn he'd sent her. He did what? I kept my voice cool and steady, letting her think I was just now piecing together my husband's betrayal. My name's Lauren Pierce, and Tyler, my charming con of a husband, just turned into the biggest mistake of his life, though not in the way he imagines. That Sunday morning, waking up to an empty bed and a gut punch of a note stuck to the fridge, "Goodbye. Never loved you anyway," should have broken me. Instead, it was the spark I'd been waiting for. I'm a forensic accountant in Milwaukee, and for 15 years, I've hunted financial fraud for some of the Midwest's heaviest hitters. So when Tyler started plotting his grand exit 3 months ago, he wasn't exactly tangling with a rookie. The signs were textbook: his sudden curiosity about our retirement funds after years of leaving the money stuff to me, the hushed phone calls, the disappearing acts. The way he'd slam his laptop shut whenever I got close. I'd seen it all before: clients, crooks, you name it. What Tyler didn't know: every shady transaction, every sneaky purchase, every attempt to bleed me dry. I caught it, photographed it, sent it straight to my lawyer. By the time he scribbled that smug little note, thinking he'd outfoxed me, I'd already locked down our savings, flagged our accounts, and braced for his every move. So when fraud alerts lit up my phone that Monday morning, decline charges, botched withdrawals, frozen accounts, I couldn't suppress the grin. Each buzz was a sweet little symphony. Tyler thought he was a chess master, 10 moves ahead. He had no clue he just checkmated himself. My hand grazed the just-in-case folder on my desk, stuffed with months of evidence that had torched not just his escape plan but his whole damn future. Listening to his sister freak out over the phone, I almost pitied him. Almost. You'd think finding out my husband of 8 years never loved me would have wrecked me. But here's the kicker about being a forensic accountant: you learn to spot patterns. People think they're slick hiding their dirt, but money? It snitches every time. And Tyler? He left a trail of breadcrumbs a blindfolded kid could follow. We met at a swanky charity gala 6 years back. Tyler was all charm, sharp suit, slick car, big talk about building a future. He claimed he was an investment advisor, and I bought it, dazzled by his confidence. Looking back, I should have clocked how he dodged questions about his clients, how his past was a vague blur. The first 3 years were a dream, or so I thought. We snagged a gorgeous house in Milwaukee suburbs, jetted off on luxe vacations, tossed around baby names. But there were cracks. He'd snap if I asked about his student loans, brush off meeting his old colleagues. "You don't trust me?" He'd pout, flipping it on me. "Why do you need to know everything?" Classic gaslighting. I'd seen it 100 times in my job. Still, I let it slide. I wanted to believe in us. Big mistake. Then the red flags got louder. Last Christmas, he pushed for separate holiday accounts. It'll be romantic, surprising each other. But I found credit card statements he'd stashed, showing thousands dropped at jewelry stores. Spoiler: no diamonds for me. Then came the business trips that didn't line up with any conference schedules, the mystery calls that went to voicemail when I was near. Most wives would have stormed in, screaming. Me? I started digging, pulling statements, tracking transfers, building a case. Every time he thought he was outsmarting me, he was handing me more ammo. "You're working late again?" he'd ask, fake concern dripping from his voice while I sat at my computer. "Just catching up on cases," I'd say, not mentioning his case was the one keeping me up. The tipping point hit 3 weeks ago. I was burning the midnight oil, legit this time, when my colleague Mia bolted to my desk, pale as a ghost, phone trembling in her hand. "Lauren, you need to see this," she stammered. She'd been digging into some fraud files and stumbled across Tyler's name, not as a victim, but a suspect. The same shady patterns I tracked in our personal accounts were popping up in his professional life. He wasn't just ditching me, he was running from something massive. "There's more," Mia whispered. "He's tied to 3 other fraud cases, different states, different names, same playbook. He targets successful women, marries them, then vanishes with their cash. The last one was in Phoenix right before he moved here." It clicked. The charm, the secrecy, the sudden money obsession. It wasn't love. I was his next mark. And he had no idea he'd picked a woman who catches guys like him for a living. That night, I sat in our kitchen till sunrise, re-examining everything. The doting husband act. The subtle isolation from my friends, the slow siphon of our accounts. It was crystal clear. I laughed, not out of joy but at the irony. He'd screwed with the wrong woman. For 3 weeks, I played the part, kissing him goodbye each morning, nodding through his work lies each night, all while moving our money, tipping off the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit, and piling up evidence to nail him and help his past victims. "You seem off lately," he said one evening, eyeing me suspiciously. "Everything okay?" I smiled, picturing the noose tightening around him. "Just tired from work. You know how it gets." He nodded, probably thinking I was slaving away to fatten his haul. If he'd looked closer, he might have caught the glint in my eye, the one that screamed I was onto him. But cons like Tyler? They never think they'll be the ones played. The morning he bolted, his plan kicked off like clockwork. First call, the bank, flagging unusual activity, max cards, drained accounts. Second, his sister, Jenna, sobbing about the cash he'd borrowed. Third, a woman named Sarah Bennett from Phoenix, asking if I knew where her husband was. "Your husband?" I gripped my phone, sinking into a kitchen chair. "Tyler Murphy," Sarah said, voice sharp with fury. "He took my savings 3 years ago and disappeared. I've been chasing him since." I smirked despite the sting. "Here he's Tyler Pierce. And you're not gonna believe this, but I've been waiting for you to call." Over the next hour, Sarah and I swapped stories, same dazzling smile, same investment advisor spiel, same slow bleed of accounts before he ghosted. But this time there was a twist, me. "I've got enough to bury him," I told her, "but I need your help to reel him in." Right on cue, my phone buzzed with a text from Tyler. "I'm sorry. Can we talk? Just one last time." Perfect. Sarah had warned me. He always circled back post-disappearance, fishing for one final score. I showed it to my lawyer, who grinned. "Let's set the trap." We met at a downtown coffee shop. Tyler was there, all crocodile tears and rumpled clothes, the picture of regret. "Lauren, I'm so sorry," he started, reaching for my hand. "I've been messed up, bad investments." I panicked. I pulled back, playing along. "How bad is it, Tyler?" His eyes flickered with hope. He thought I was buying it. "About $200,000. But I can fix it. I just need the emergency fund." I let him squirm, pretending to mull it over. "The emergency fund? You mean the one you tried to drain yesterday?" His mask slipped for a heartbeat before he rallied. "That was a mistake. If you help me now, I swear." "Swear what? To vanish again? Or stick around long enough to rob me blind like you did Sarah in Phoenix?" His face went white. I slid a folder across the table. "Here's the thing, Tyler. If you'd done your homework, you'd know stealing from a forensic accountant was a dumbass move." 2 FBI agents stepped up behind him. I stood, brushing off my jacket. "Oh, and Tyler? Get a good lawyer." As they hauled him off, Mia called, her voice buzzing with triumph. "We've got him. Those offshore accounts you flagged? He's been running a Ponzi scheme, millions in fraud. 23 victims so far, 5 states. 12 marriages, all finance women. But get this, he was planning to use your credentials for his next big scam." I watched Tyler shrink in the back of a federal car. All those late-night chats about my cases? He wasn't being sweet, he was mining me. If he'd stuck to his usual game, he might have slipped away, I said. But he got greedy. "That's not all." Mia laughed. "That country club membership he begged for? He was wooing his next mark, Emma Grayson, the hedge fund queen. Too bad she's your best friend and handed us every text, email, and recorded chat he tried on her." I chuckled. Tyler had spent months plotting, thinking he was the puppet master, while we'd all been pulling strings. "What about Jenna, his sister?" "She's no sister, she's his partner. They've been at this for years. She's in custody in Chicago now." "Oh, and his real name?" "Tyler Hayes. Wanted in Canada since 2015. "Tyler Hayes," I mused, eyeing the case file on my desk. "Welcome to hell." Then my phone pinged an unknown number. "You think you're smart, but you don't know what's coming. Check your email." Attached were photos. Me with my family, my routines, shots through my windows. A chill hit me, not fear but rage. I forwarded it to Mia and called Agent Carter. "We've got another player." "Already on it," Carter said. "Sent from James Russo, Tyler's old cellmate. He's the muscle, threatens victims who get too close. We're tracking him." Then it hit. Movement on a frozen account, from my house. I dialed Sarah. "You okay?" Problem," she whispered. Jenna's here must have had a key. She's on your laptop. And Russo just showed up. Get out now, I barked, but a crash cut through the line. Too late. Sarah hissed. Stick to the plan, I said. Through the phone I heard her coolly say, Jenna, before you do anything dumb, check the screen. I grinned. Every file. Every account was streaming live to the FBI, my house rigged with surveillance. Sirens wailed as agents swarmed in, nabbing Jenna and Russo. Sarah was safe. Carter met me at the scene. You knew they'd pull this? Desperate people do desperate things, I shrugged. I just gave them a rope to hang themselves with. 2 months later, I watched Tyler's empire collapse in court. Tyler Hayes, for fraud, identity theft, conspiracy, and witness intimidation, you're sentenced to 25 years, the judge boomed. His smug grin was gone, replaced by raw panic. Jenna and Russo took pleas, spilling dirt on his global network. Sarah gripped my hand as his victims, my new sisters, spoke of betrayal and victory. We hadn't just won justice. We'd reclaimed our strength. Carter approached post-trial. Ever thought of consulting for us? I smirked, thinking of all the Tylers still out there. Sign me up. 6 months later, I stood before FBI agents, unveiling the Pierce Protocol, a system I'd built to shred romance scams. 3 rings down already, thanks to Sarah's insights and my number crunching. That night, on my balcony overlooking Lake Michigan, I toasted the irony. Tyler tried to ruin me with 5 cruel words. Instead, he forged a badass, a woman hell-bent on making sure no con ever underestimates a survivor again.